Every story has a turning point. Some are born from triumph, others from heartbreak. And sometimes, the most unexpected failures lead to the most extraordinary beginnings. In this video, we'll walk through the emotional roller coaster of Will's life, from the disappointment of failure, to the secret romance she nurtured with her girlfriend Tori, to the engagement that stunned her family and fans alike. We'll explore the gift of a new home, the preparations for marriage, and the challenges that tested their bond. Will Klein failed her exam. Her failure left the family deeply disappointed. After the results, they thought it would be better not to waste more time on her studies. Instead, the family decided it was time to arrange her marriage. Today, Will Klein's engagement with her girlfriend Tori. Will Klein has been secretly dating Tori for past 1 year. Will Klein's parents have gifted a new house to Will Klein and her future wife. They will officially get married upcoming 10th February 2026. So sit back and immerse yourself in this 10-chapter journey. Each chapter unfolds like a real-life drama with emotions raw, decisions heavy, and love shining through the cracks of expectation. By the end, you'll not only witness Will Klein's transformation, you'll question your own beliefs about failure, family, and the power of love. The day of the exam results was supposed to be routine. Will Klein had prepared, or at least tried to, balancing her studies with the quiet distractions of her personal life. But when the marks were announced, the truth hit harder than anyone expected. She had failed. The silence in the Klein household was deafening. Her parents, who had always believed in her potential, sat in disbelief. For them, education wasn't just about grades. It was about pride, about proving that their daughter could stand tall in a competitive world. And now, that pride felt shattered. Will herself was torn between shame and relief. Shame, because she knew she had disappointed her family. Relief, because deep down, she had always felt her heart wasn't in academics. Her mind wandered elsewhere, toward dreams of companionship, toward the secret relationship she had been nurturing with Tori. But her parents didn't know that yet. All they saw was failure, and failure, in their eyes, meant wasted time. That evening, the family gathered around the dining table. The air was heavy, the food untouched. Her father spoke first. "We cannot keep investing in studies that bring no result. It's time to think differently." Her mother nodded, her voice trembling. "Maybe it's time we arrange her marriage. At least then, she'll have stability." Will listened quietly, her heart pounding. Marriage? Stability. She wanted to scream that she already had stability, that she had already found love, but the secret was too fragile to reveal. That night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The failure wasn't just about exams. It was about choices. Her family had made theirs. Soon, she would have to make hers. And so, the stage was set. What began as an academic disappointment would soon unravel into a story of hidden love, shocking revelations, and a journey toward a wedding that no one had seen coming. The Klein household had always been a place of warmth, laughter, and ambition. But after Will's exam failure, the atmosphere shifted. The disappointment lingered like a shadow, and conversations that once revolved around dreams of higher education now turned toward practical solutions. Her father, a man of firm convictions, believed that time was too precious to waste. "Education is important," he said one evening, his voice steady but heavy, "but not at the cost of endless failure. We must think of her future differently." Her mother, though softer in tone, echoed the sentiment. She needs stability, a partner who can guide her, someone who will stand beside her. Maybe marriage is the answer. The word struck Will like thunder. Marriage? It wasn't that she opposed the idea of companionship. She had already found it in Tori. But the thought of her parents arranging something without knowing the truth of her heart filled her with dread. The family began to discuss potential matches. Names of distant relatives, acquaintances, and family friends floated around the dinner table. Each suggestion felt like a dagger to Will's chest. She wanted to shout, to confess, to tell them that she had already chosen her partner. But fear held her back. In the quiet of her room, Will replayed the conversations in her mind. She thought of Tora, the secret smiles, the whispered promises, the stolen moments of joy. For a year, they had built a world together, hidden from everyone else. And now, that world was at risk of collapsing under the weight of her family's expectations. Her younger sibling, sensing her distress, asked softly, "Do you want this? Do you want to marry someone they choose?" Will hesitated, then shook her head. "No, I already know who I want. But they don't know yet." The siblings' eyes widened, but they said nothing. Secrets in the Klein household were dangerous things. Days passed, and the decision hardened. The family would not push her toward more studies. Instead, they would begin arranging her marriage. For them, it was a practical solution. For Will, it was a ticking clock. She knew she couldn't stay silent forever. The truth about Tori had to come out. But when and how? The family's decision was final, yet destiny had its own plans. What they thought would be a simple arrangement was about to unravel into a revelation that would change everything. Behind the walls of the Klein household, where expectations weighed heavy and traditions guided every decision, Will Klein carried a secret that no one suspected. For the past year, she had been quietly building a life with someone who made her feel seen, understood, and cherished, her girlfriend, Tori. Their story began innocently. A chance meeting at a local cafe turned into long conversations, shared laughter, and the discovery of a connection that neither could ignore. Tori was different, confident yet gentle, someone who listened without judgment and encouraged Will to embrace her true self. In Tori's presence, Will felt free from the constant pressure of exams, grades, and family expectations. But freedom came with risk. Will knew her family would never approve of a relationship kept in the shadows, especially one that defied their plans for her future. So she and Tori crafted a world of secrecy. They met in quiet corners of the city, exchanged messages late at night, and celebrated milestones in whispers rather than shouts. Every stolen moment carried both joy and fear. Joy, because their love was real. Fear, because discovery could mean heartbreak. Not just for them, but for the family that believed they were guiding Will towards stability. Tori understood the stakes. "We'll tell them when the time is right," she often reassured. Love like ours can't stay hidden forever. Will clung to those words, even as the pressure at home grew. Her parents spoke of arranged marriages, of suitors who could provide security. Each conversation felt like a countdown, a reminder that her secret couldn't remain buried much longer. Yet despite the looming threat, their bond only deepened. They celebrated their one-year anniversary quietly, exchanging small gifts and promises of a future together. Tori gave Will a bracelet, engraved with the words "Forever Us." Will wore it beneath her sleeve, a hidden symbol of the life she longed to live openly. In those moments, Will realized that her failure in exams wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning of another. A story not defined by grades or arranged marriages, but by love, resilience, and the courage to choose her own path. Still, the question lingered. How long could they keep the secret? The family's decision was clear, and the clock was ticking. Soon, the truth would have to surface. And when it did, it would change everything. Secrets have a way of surfacing, no matter how carefully they are hidden. For Will Klein, the weight of silence had grown unbearable. Each day her family spoke of arranged marriages, of suitors and stability, while her heart already belonged to someone. The contradiction gnawed at her, until one evening, the truth could no longer be contained. It began with a simple question from her father. "Will, do you have someone in mind? If not, we will proceed with arrangements." The words froze her. This was the moment, the crossroads between silence and confession. Her hands trembled, her voice faltered, but she forced herself to speak. "I do," she whispered. "I already have someone." The room fell silent. Her mother's eyes widened, her father leaned forward, and her siblings stared in disbelief. "Who?" her father demanded, his tone sharp but curious. Will took a deep breath. Her name is Tori. We've been together for a year. The revelation struck like lightning. A girlfriend? The family exchanged stunned glances, their carefully constructed plans unraveling in an instant. Her mother covered her mouth, her father's face hardened, and the air grew thick with tension. For a moment, no one spoke. Then her father broke the silence. "You've been hiding this from us? For a year?" "Yes," Will admitted, her voice steady now. "Because I was afraid. Afraid you wouldn't understand. Afraid you'd take her away from me." Her mother's voice trembled. "Why didn't you trust us?" Tears welled in Will's eyes. "Because I didn't want to lose her. She makes me happy. She makes me feel whole. I failed my exam, yes, but I didn't fail in love. Tori is my choice." The confession hummed in the air, heavy yet liberating. For the first time, Will felt the burden lift. The secret was no longer hers alone. The family's reaction was mixed: shock, disappointment, confusion, but beneath it all, a flicker of realization. They had wanted stability for her, and here she was, presenting it in the form of love. Her siblings spoke softly, breaking the tension. Maybe this is what she needs. Maybe this is her future. Her father sighed deeply, his stern expression softening. "We will need time to accept this. But if Tori is truly your choice, then we must meet her." And so, the truth was revealed. What began as a hidden romance was now out in the open, setting the stage for the next chapter. The engagement that would redefine not only Will's life, but the family's understanding of love and destiny. The morning of the engagement dawned with a mix of anticipation and nervous energy. For Will Klein, it was more than just a ceremony. It was the moment her secret love would finally be celebrated openly. After months of silence, whispers, and hidden meetings, she and Tori were about to step into the light together. The Klein household buzzed with activity. Relatives arrived dressed in vibrant colors, carrying gifts wrapped in gold and silver paper. The air smelled of fresh flowers and traditional dishes prepared for the guests. Yet beneath the festive atmosphere, there was an undercurrent of curiosity. Many had heard fragments of the story: Will's exam failure, the family's decision, and the shocking revelation of her girlfriend. Now, they were here to witness the truth for themselves. Will stood in her room, adjusting her outfit with trembling hands. Tori entered quietly, her smile calm but reassuring. "Are you ready?" she asked. Will nodded, though her heart raced. "I've been ready for a year," she whispered. When they stepped into the hall together, the room fell silent. All eyes turned toward them. Two women, hand in hand, walking with quiet confidence. For a moment, time seemed to pause. Then, as if on cue, the applause began. It wasn't loud at first, but it grew, filling the space with acceptance and warmth. Her parents watched from the front row. Her mother's eyes glistened with tears, her father's expression softened with reluctant pride. They had struggled to accept this path, but seeing Will's happiness was undeniable. The disappointment of exams, the debates over marriage, all of it faded in the face of love. The engagement ceremony was simple yet profound. Rings were exchanged, promises spoken, and blessings offered. Tori's family embraced Will warmly, bridging the gap between secrecy and celebration. For the first time, Will felt the weight of her choices lift. She wasn't hiding anymore. Guests whispered among themselves, some surprised, others inspired. She chose love over tradition. One relative remarked, "And look at her, she's glowing." As the evening unfolded, laughter replaced tension. Will and Tora danced together, their joy contagious. The family, once divided, now joined in celebration. The engagement wasn't just about two people. It was about transformation, about redefining what stability and success truly meant. By the end of the night, Will sat beside Tori, exhausted but elated. "We did it," she said softly. Tori squeezed her hand. "This is just the beginning." And indeed it was. The engagement marked the start of a new chapter, one that would lead to a home of their own, preparations for marriage, and the challenges that awaited them. But for now, it was enough to bask in the glow of love finally recognized. The engagement had been a whirlwind of emotions: joy, relief, and cautious acceptance. But what came next was something Klein never expected. Just days after the ceremony, her parents called her and Tori into the living room. Their expressions were serious, yet softened by a quiet warmth. Her father spoke first. "We've been thinking. You've chosen your path, and though it surprised us, we see your happiness. We want to give you something to begin your life together." Will and Tori exchanged curious glances. Her mother smiled gently and handed Will a small envelope. Inside was a set of keys, polished and gleaming. "It's yours," she said. "A house, your home." For a moment, Will couldn't breathe. A house? Her parents had gifted them not just a place to live, but a symbol of acceptance, of trust, of a future they were finally willing to support. Tears welled in her eyes as she clutched the keys, overwhelmed by the gesture. Tori, equally stunned, whispered, This means everything." The following weekend, the family drove together to see the house. Nestled in a quiet neighborhood, it was modest yet beautiful. White walls, a small garden, and wide windows that welcomed sunlight. As they stepped inside, Will felt a rush of emotions. This wasn't just a building, it was a promise. A promise that her love was no longer hidden, that her family had chosen to stand beside her. Her parents walked through the rooms, pointing out spaces for memories yet to be made. "Here's where you'll host dinners," her mother said. "And this room, maybe one day, it will be filled with laughter." Will's father, though still reserved, placed a hand on her shoulder. "We may not have understood at first, but this is your life, and we want you to live it fully." The gift of the house became more than a gesture. It was a turning point. Relatives who had doubted now saw the family's acceptance. Friends who whispered now admired. And for Will and Tora, it was the foundation of a shared future. That evening, as they stood together in the empty living room, Will turned to Tori. "This is ours," she said softly. "Our beginning." Tora smiled, pulling her close. "And we'll fill it with love, every single day." The house stood as a silent witness to their journey, a place where failure had transformed into resilience, where secrecy had blossomed into celebration, and where love had finally found a home. With the engagement celebrated and the new home gifted, the next chapter in Will Klein and Tora's journey was clear: marriage. The date had been set, February 10, 2026, and the countdown began. What followed was a whirlwind of preparations, traditions, and emotions that filled every corner of their lives. The Klein household transformed into a hub of activity. Relatives visited daily, offering advice, sharing stories, and sometimes debating over traditions. For Will's parents, this was more than just a wedding. It was a chance to show the world that they had embraced their daughter's choice. Every detail mattered, from the guest list to the decorations, and they poured their energy into making it perfect. Will, however, found herself caught between excitement and nerves. She had dreamed of this day, yet the reality felt overwhelming. "It's happening," she whispered to Tori one evening as they sat together in their new home. "We're really getting married." Tori smiled, her calm presence grounding Will's restless energy. "We've waited for this. Now it's our time." Preparations stretched across months. Invitations were designed with elegance, blending modern style with traditional motifs. The venue was chosen carefully, a spacious hall adorned with chandeliers and floral arrangements, capable of holding the hundreds of guests expected to attend. Family traditions played a central role. Will's mother insisted on certain rituals, believing they carried blessings for the couple's future. Tori's family contributed their own customs, creating a fusion of traditions that symbolized unity. From ceremonial prayers to festive dances, every element was planned with care. Shopping trips became adventures of their own. Will and Tori spent hours selecting outfits, jewelry, and accessories. Each choice carried meaning, each detail a reflection of their personalities. Will chose attire that balanced simplicity with grace, while Tori leaned toward bold colors that reflected her vibrant spirit. Yet beneath the excitement, challenges lingered. Whispers from distant relatives questioned the unconventional nature of the marriage. Some wondered aloud whether the family had truly accepted it. Will overheard fragments of these conversations, and though they stung, she reminded herself of the love that had carried her this far. Her father, noticing her unease, offered quiet reassurance. People will talk. Let them. What matters is that you are happy, and happiness is worth defending. Those words became her anchor. As the days ticked closer to February 10, Will and Tori focused not on the doubts, but on the joy of building a life together. The preparations weren't just about a wedding. They were about transformation. Each ritual, each decision, each moment of anticipation was a step toward a future where love triumphed over expectation. Every love story, no matter how beautiful, faces its share of trials. For Will, Klein, and Tori, the weeks leading up to their wedding were filled with excitement, but also with shadows of doubt cast by society's whispers and lingering skepticism within the family. Though the engagement had softened hearts, not everyone was ready to embrace their union. Relatives from distant branches of the family voiced concerns in hushed tones. Is this really the right path? One aunt murmured during a gathering. What will people say? Another relative questioned whether their marriage could withstand the pressures of tradition and expectation. Will overheard these conversations, each word cutting deeper than the last. She had fought hard to reveal her truth, yet the judgment of others weighed heavily. At night, she lay awake, wondering if love alone was enough to silence the doubts. Tora noticed her unease. One evening, as they sat together in their new home, she reached for Will's hand. We knew this wouldn't be easy, she said softly. But we've already come this far. Their doubts don't define us. Our love does. Her words were steady, a reminder of the strength they had built together. Still, challenges persisted. Some family friends distanced themselves, choosing not to attend the wedding. Others offered support, but with hesitation, as if waiting to see whether the relationship would endure. Even within the Klein household, moments of tension surfaced. Will's father, though more accepting now, occasionally struggled with the unconventional nature of the marriage. I only want what's best for you, he said one evening, his voice heavy. I hope this truly brings you happiness. Will responded firmly, her voice filled with conviction. It already has. Tori is my happiness. The doubts weren't limited to family. Society itself seemed to watch closely, with whispers spreading beyond their circle. Some admired their courage, while others criticized their defiance of tradition. The weight of public opinion pressed down, threatening to overshadow the joy of their upcoming wedding. But through it all, Will and Tori leaned on each other. They reminded themselves of the journey they had taken, the secrecy, the revelation, the engagement, and the gift of a home. Each step had been a test, and each time, their bond had grown stronger. As February 10 drew closer, the challenges became less about external voices and more about internal strength. Will realize that doubts would always exist, but love was about choosing each other despite them. And so, they pressed forward, determined to prove that their union wasn't just possible, it was inevitable. The whispers of doubt became background noise, drowned out by the louder truth of their love. The weeks before the wedding had tested Will, Klein, and Tori in ways they never imagined. Whispers of doubt, skeptical relatives, and the weight of societal judgment pressed down on them like heavy stones. Yet through it all, their bond only grew stronger. Love, they realized, wasn't just about joy. It was about resilience. It was about standing together when the world questioned them, about choosing each other every single day despite the noise around them. One evening, as they sat in their new home surrounded by half-packed boxes of wedding decorations, Will turned to Tori. Do you ever wonder if we're strong enough for this? She asked quietly. Tori smiled, her eyes steady. We already are. Look at what we faced. Secrets, revelations, doubts, and we're still here. That's strength. Her words carried truth. Their journey had been anything but easy. From the exam failure that shifted her family's plans, to the shocking confession of their relationship, to the engagement that stunned relatives, every step had been a test. And yet, each test had only reinforced their love. The turning point came during a family gathering a few weeks before the wedding. Relatives who had once questioned their union watched as Will and Tori stood side by side, speaking openly about their journey. Will's father, once hesitant, addressed the room with a voice filled with conviction. "My daughter has chosen her path. It may not be the one we expected, but it is hers. And in Tori, she has found strength, love, and stability. That is all any parent could wish for." The words silenced the whispers. For the first time, the family saw not just a couple defying tradition, but two people embodying it in their own way, through loyalty, commitment, and courage. Support began to grow. Friends who had hesitated now offered encouragement. Relatives who had doubted began to admire their determination. The tide was turning, and it was love that carried them forward. Will felt the shift deeply. The shame of failure, the fear of secrecy, the sting of judgment, all of it faded as she stood proudly beside Tori. Together, they had proven that love wasn't fragile. It was powerful. It was enduring. As the wedding day drew closer, Will and Tori embraced the challenges not as obstacles, but as reminders of their strength. They had faced doubt and emerged stronger. They had faced whispers and answered with truth. And now they were ready to face the world, not as two individuals, but as one united force. Their love had been tested, and it had triumphed. The morning of February 10, 2026 arrived like a dream. The sun rose gently, casting golden light across the city, as if nature itself was blessing Will Klein and Tori's union. For months, anticipation had built, and now the day had finally come. The day they would stand before family, friends, and the world to declare their love. The venue was breathtaking. Chandeliers sparkled above. Flowers lined the aisles, and soft music filled the air. Guests arrived dressed in their finest, their faces glowing with excitement. Some had once doubted, others had whispered, but today, all were united in celebration. Will stood in her dressing room, her heart racing. She wore an elegant outfit chosen with care, blending tradition with her own style. Her mother adjusted the final details, tears shimmering in her eyes. "You look beautiful," she whispered. "I'm proud of you." Across the hall, Tori prepared with equal anticipation. Bold yet graceful, she radiated confidence. Her family surrounded her, offering blessings and encouragement. "This is your day," her father said warmly. "Live it fully." When the ceremony began, silence fell. Will and Tori walked down the aisle together, hand in hand, their steps steady, their smiles radiant. The sight drew gasps from the crowd. Two women, united not just by love, but by courage. The officiant spoke words of blessing, acknowledging their journey. Love is not bound by tradition or expectation. It is bound by choice, by commitment, by the promise to stand together through all trials. As they exchanged vows, Will's voice trembled with emotion. "I choose you, Tori, today and every day. Through failure, through doubt, through joy, you are my strength, my home, my forever." Tori's response was steady, her eyes locked on Will's. "I promise to love you without fear, to stand beside you without hesitation, and to build a life with you filled with laughter, resilience, and truth." The rings slid onto their fingers, gleaming symbols of eternity. The officiant declared them united, and the hall erupted in applause. Tears flowed freely, laughter echoed, and the doubts of the past dissolved into celebration. The reception was a joyous blur. Music, dancing, and heartfelt speeches. Will's father raised a toast, his voice firm yet tender. "To my daughter and her wife. May your love be the foundation of your future, stronger than any challenge, brighter than any doubt." As the night drew to a close, Will and Tori stood together beneath the stars. The journey had been long, filled with trials and triumphs. But now they were married. Their love had not only survived, it had triumphed. The wedding day was more than a ceremony. It was a declaration, a victory, a promise of forever. Every story has an ending, but some endings are really just beginnings. Will Klein's journey from exam failure to family disappointment, from secrecy to revelation, from engagement to marriage, reminds us that life doesn't always follow the path we expect. Sometimes failure opens the door to something greater. Sometimes love demands courage. And sometimes the choices we make redefine not only our future, but the legacy we leave behind. As Will and Tori step into their new life together, their story challenges us to think about our own. It asks us to reflect on the meaning of success, the weight of tradition, and the power of love to overcome doubt. So now, I leave you with questions that linger long after the video ends. What does true success really mean? Grades, achievements, or the courage to choose happiness? How much should family expectations shape our future? And when should love take the lead? Can failure ever be a blessing in disguise, opening doors we never imagined? And most importantly, if you were in Will's place, would you have had the strength to reveal your truth? These are not just questions about Will Klein's life. They are questions about all of us. Because in the end, every viewer has their own story of resilience, of love, of choices that defy expectation. The wedding may mark the end of this chapter, but the conversation continues. What do you believe matters most? Success defined by others, or happiness defined by yourself? Think about it, share your thoughts, and let this story inspire your own journey. More update. The little couple Will Klein shares death of my brother. Jin Arnold honors Hoda Kotb with touching tribute. And fans in shock over Will and Zoey Klein's huge growth spurt. Jin Arnold wants midget mascot out of school. I will explain everything. In a recent social media post, Will Klein, a member of the little couple, shared the terrible news of the passing of his brother. What, then, was the opinion of the eldest son of Jin Arnold and Bill Klein? With the little couple off the air, Jin Arnold's social media has become the go-to place for fans interested in family updates and more. It may not be the same as seeing the family program on television, but it has allowed fans to be informed about all their happenings. As a result of maturing into an adult, Will Klein is now active on several social media platforms, such as TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. It appears that Will's parents decided he was old enough to begin blogging and expressing himself beyond his mom's lens when he became 14 years old. He has really made the most of that opportunity since he has had the go-ahead. With the help of the family pet, Rocky, Will Klein shared a brief photo collage. In 2022, a cherished member of the little couple family passed away. As soon as Will Klein got his own social media account, he posted a heartfelt homage to Rocky, reflecting on the wonderful times they spent together. My brother was provided by Will Klein alongside a brief montage of the pictures. Your passing is my deepest condolences. You were not deserving of this. Apologies, everyone. I had intended to share this a while back. Will and the rest of the little couple family are clearly still grieving the loss of Rocky, even though he went away a while ago. Also, Will did a wonderful thing by creating this touching collage to honor Rocky's memory. Some viewers of the little couple who haven't been paying attention may not know that Rocky has died. His name is on the Rocky and Maggie's Pet store in Houston, which is owned by Bill and Jen. He had a significant impact on their lives for a long time, and they will always remember him fondly. Will Klein received many supportive messages and condolences from fans of the little couple after his recent update. A commenter on the little couple said, "Oh no. To you and your loved ones, my deepest sympathies. His time spent with you was truly magical." A kind commenter added, "My deepest sympathies on your loss. You are in my thoughts and prayers." Jin Arnold honors Hoda Kotb with touching tribute. Hoda Kotb, the beloved anchor of today, is getting ready to depart the show, and a cast member of the little couple, Jen Arnold, recently delivered a sweet tribute to her. In light of her upcoming departure, what did Jen think of the longtime TV star? Hoda Kotb's announcement a few months ago that she will formally depart today after many years at her role made headlines. Many people are sad to see Hoda go since she has been a mainstay in so many homes and has had such a significant impact throughout the years. There will be a lot of special events leading up to Hoda Kotb's last official day on the Today set on January 10. Everyone is thinking about how Hoda has touched their lives and the trip she has been on. Jen Arnold, who plays one of the leads in The Little Couple, is one of those individuals who is thinking about it. Jen Arnold, who played Hoda Kotb on The Little Couple, was one of those who recently spoke out to reflect on the show and offer positive feedback. Along with her heartfelt homage to the beloved anchor, Jen included a photo from one of her previous appearances on Today. Today, I'm reflecting on the incredible journey of Hoda Kotb as she moves on from Kotb, Jen Arnold said. In my career as a journalist and presenter, but also in my personal life, Hoda, you have been an incredible role model. You have been an inspiration to many of us with your empathy, wisdom, and infectious happiness. You and Jenna have inspired and educated countless people through your work in medical media, and I aspire to fulfill my longtime ambition of doing the same. Even though The Little Couple is no longer airing, Jen Arnold has not stopped using her over 1 million followers to advocate for topics close to her heart. This is one area where Jen's admiration for Hoda is understandable. We share so much in common, a deep love of journalism and the unique, beautiful bond of being adoptive parents. Jen continued her tribute. Many people, including me, have been moved by your genuine kindness and honesty. The unique bond you've had with Jenna Pogger has always been something I've admired, Jen added. When you two were on television together, it was like a cocktail of genuine friendship, contagious laughter, and deep, meaningful discussions. Observing you two has been an incredible blessing. No matter what happens in life, I have faith that you will always be an inspiration. Holy cow! Fans in shock over Will and Zoey Klein's huge growth spurt. Fans of The Little Couple are astounded by the dramatic amount of maturity displayed by Will and Zoey Klein. Viewers are in disbelief after Jen Arnold published a new update of her children. People who have been watching The Little Couple on TLC since the beginning have witnessed the Klein children, Will and Zoey, grow up. The moment Jen Arnold and Bill Klein welcomed 2 new children into their home through adoption is one that many fans will always remember. After everything Zoey and Will have been through, it's only natural for longtime followers to be invested. Viewers haven't seen new episodes of The Little Couple since 2019, which is a shame because the show was canceled on TLC. If they want to know who's coming and going from this family, they have to follow Jen Arnold's social media posts. Jen always seems to have children who are becoming older and bigger in her updates. Jen Arnold frequently returns to Florida with her family. Even though they're happy in their new Boston home, they still have many ties to the place from their many years spent there. Soaking up some rays in Florida is always a good idea whenever they want to get away from the cold weather in New England. A photo from their recent Florida vacation was shared by Jen Arnold. Her fans can't get over how much Zoey and Will have matured. While on vacation with his family in New York City, Will recently turned 14 years old. Just around the corner, Zoey will be a teenager just like her brother. Lots of people who watch The Little Couple believe that Will Klein has already surpassed his dad, Bill, in height. His recent seeming growth spurt suggests that might be the situation right now, as part of the pictures that the joyful mother shared with her fans of The Little Couple after returning to Florida. Jen Arnold included what she called her new favorite photo of Will and Zoey. Their fans can't help but marvel at their remarkable growth as they pose in their beachwear. It was written by a fan of The Little Couple. "They look so grown here." Somebody else who follows them added, "They are so grown up. Zoe is stunning, and your son is quite attractive." Oh my, "They are both growing so lovely," remarked a third fan of the little couple. "You two must have your parents' utmost pride." Jen Arnold wants midget mascot out of school. Jen Arnold, the little couple star, is one of the most ardent supporters of small people. She recently criticized the widespread use of midget mascots in schools. What does she say then about resolving this matter and desiring the removal of those mascots? Jen Arnold, star of The Little Couple, is one of the most prominent voices advocating for the rights of individuals with disabilities. Even though she, her husband, Bill Klein, and their kids became well-known thanks to the family TLC reality show, Jen still uses her position as a public figure to advocate for various causes. Even though The Little Couple is no longer airing, Jen Arnold still has a sizable fan base and enjoys following her wherever she goes. Jen is able to raise awareness of things that are close to her heart because she still has that platform and isn't associated with TLC. Using her position to speak up for small people everywhere is one of those causes. Jen Arnold, star of The Little Couple, recently brought attention to a petition that was being circulated to stop the usage of midgets as school mascots. The Dickinson Midgets, the mascot of a North Dakota high school, was one example given in a change.org petition that has been floating around. Even though this could seem innocent or like games to others, it is extremely upsetting to young kids in particular. At least 5 schools in America have midgets as mascots in one way or another, according to the petition website. To date, more than 5,000 people have signed the petition, which demands an end to this. Raising Will. And Zoey Klein is one of the main reasons Jen Arnold is so committed to standing up for small people and putting a stop to this kind of injustice. She is aware of the struggles she and Bill Klein have had over the years, so she wants to raise children in an environment that is as accepting as possible. Given this, it is not unexpected that she is in favor of the current petition to ban midgets from being used as mascots in at least 5 U.S. schools nationwide. With 5,000 signatures to date, this petition is undoubtedly supported by many people who share its views. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.